Hey there, Blue Mages, Liam here, and welcome back to Blue Academy. This video will seem a bit familiar since it's nearly identical to the 5.45 prep video from a while back, but there are some slight differences in information, so it's still worth putting something out for the next patch coming up. 6.45 is on the horizon. I'm actually expecting it to come out next week on July 18th, and with that comes the increase to our level cap. Now, we don't actually have any communication on when the patch will be, so it might not be until after FanFest, but for a variety of reasons, I think it'll still be next week. We'll see, who knows. At a basic level, the prep can be reduced to do any current content that you haven't done yet, where current is any of the current Blue Mage content. Current does not mean Endwalker, because obviously that has no bearing on us at all. Now, I don't necessarily mean doing the Savage raids for Blue or anything like that, as you'd be hard-pressed to get those done in time if you haven't already started, but also because it'll be easier to form groups for that when the overall Blue activity increases, and new spells will probably change some of the strategies, and I'd be surprised if it made things harder, but it would probably make some things easier. So, here's what I actually mean. In order to be prepared for the upcoming patch, you should finish any remaining Masked Carnival stages that you haven't completed, work on the Blue Mage Log, unlock any Shadowbringers content you haven't yet unlocked, cap allied seals and maybe Centurio seals, and then collect gear for level 80. As far as the Masked Carnival goes, we can never know for sure what sorts of rewards we can expect from completing stages. Level 60, we got Angel Whisper for completing all of the stages, but if we just look at Go-Go, we don't really get anything new that builds off of the previous stages. The rewards are just the job quest rewards, and that's kind of it. The new stuff came from defeating Go-Go, completing our job quests, and then, for doing the achievement, we can get the extra cane. I don't think it's super likely that we'll get anything like a spell reward for completing 32 stages or something bizarrely specific like that, but you never know. At any rate, if you can complete Go-Go, you can complete any of the other stages, so you might as well do them all. We do have videos for each stage. They've been updated with the Stormblood spells, so if you're struggling with them, feel free to check those out. The next bit to work on is the Blue Mage Log. While there aren't any huge rewards for doing in the first place, it's mostly just some titles and some currencies. It is still fun to do, and we can certainly expect a new achievement and title for these. I'm still pretty high on Hopium that we'll get some kind of tangible reward like a glam or something that's tied to these. My actual dream is something like a relic weapon, but we all know that's not going to happen. But for any rewards, I'm not really holding my breath. This should be a bit easier to complete as well when the patch drops, since people are doing a lot more blue stuff than normal, even the sort of low value things like Blue Mage Log. Now the next one should be kind of obvious, goes without saying, but everything else is going to build off of this. But if you're going to be doing Shadowbringers stuff, you want to unlock any of the relevant Shadowbringers duties. So, if you haven't finished the MSQ, obviously I'm not saying you should rush through the MSQ just for Blue Mage stuff. I recommend just enjoying that. But if you are already past that, make sure you've got everything unlocked. So that's all the dungeons, including optional ones, all the trials, all of the extremes, all of the raids, and all of the savages, and finally, all of the alliance raids. If your only goal is to learn all the spells, it's a pretty safe bet that you'll only need to unlock normal mode for these things. I don't expect we'll ever have any other extreme only spells, or definitely not savage spells. But the content is still fun to do even unsynced, so even if you're not going to be doing it on Blue Mage, I recommend doing them anyway, because they're still a ton of fun. So just unlock everything and then you'll be good to go. Since our gear and job rewards have historically cost allied seals, it would make sense to cap on those. If you've been on top of your Carnival weeklies, you should pretty much always be floating near the allied seal cap, but if not, then most blue content rewards it anyway. I said last time around that it wouldn't hurt to cap Centurio seals as well, though it's unlikely to actually be helpful. I still think that's the case. I don't think we're going to really be using those. I think we're just going to use allied seals forever, but you never know. I've kept these just by killing some of the lower level hunt marks whenever it's convenient, and if we do end up needing those for blue items, they'll probably come from some of the Shadowbringers log entries or weekly targets anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. The last bit for preparation is to collect gear. While we don't know what the actual best in slot gear will be yet, since we don't know what our new spells are or our job specific gear, we don't know what that's going to have for stats, I've got links to some potential crit and spell speed sets in the description below. These are basically just the Black Mage crit and spell speed sets from level 80, just as a foundation here. crit and spell speed were our main builds before, and I kind of expect that to be the case still, if, you know, there's nothing that changes in a wild fashion. If our combat loop doesn't change much and we're still just piling stuff in a moon flute, then spell speed might pull ahead if we need to fit more stuff into that window. However, I do think that both sets will be completely viable in any situation, and the reality is that the difference between a blue mage who knows what they're doing with kind of silly just base gear and a blue mage who knows what they're doing with best in slot gear is quite small, so gear is not really that big a deal actually. The other thing is, you know, we don't really know what these sets are going to be, like I said. So I would just recommend get all of the Crypt Lurkers and all of the Edenmorn casting items. I do remember last time around predicting that the Eureka set could be good for us, and it did turn out that it was. But the good news is that I don't expect anything like that to be the case this time around. The augmented Bozia gear from Delubrum Regine Savage it's a full 20 item levels below the cap, so even the 5 materia slots doesn't make up for that at all. If you really want to be pushing maximum spell speed, there are some Zadnor items like the gloves that could be better, but they still only have 2 materia slots, so overall it shouldn't be a DPS gain. As far as the crit set goes, that's pretty much set. There's nothing that you really need to look around for there. It's just a couple of spell speed items that we're missing. I am hopeful that our job gear will have some spell speed to fill in some of those gaps. I think it would be really convenient if they do. But again, just get whatever gear you can, and you'll be good to go regardless of what the spells look like and any other factors. Well, that's pretty much it for this video. Like I said, it basically boils down to do all of the current content and unlock all the Shadowbringers duties and get your gear. And that's kind of it. Any amount of prep is still going to be fine. You know, there's no need to blast through all of the content immediately, so you can just take it at your own pace anyway. But some folks like to be well prepared for everything, so those are my recommendations there. As for blasting through the content, whenever it does come out, I'm going to be trying to do the Eden raids the first day and then just do a bunch of extremes, and I'll be doing a bunch of log stuff right after. So if you're into that kind of thing, I will make another announcement for that whenever we do have patch confirmation, so you can, you know, click on streams and such. I'm actually aggregating a list of streams from folks in the Blue Mage community that'll be doing a similar thing. So if you're going to do that, please let me know, and I would be happy to share your stream information as well. Anyway, that's it for this video. A little bit of a ramble here, but hopefully not as long as some other videos have been. As always, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for some more Blue Mage stuff, and have a good weekend, and then hopefully a good patch next week. But if not next week, then a good patch at some point. Anyway, take care.